Hi, welcome to episode 38 of the Woodwind Doubling Guide. Today it's another gig rig setup. I'm playing with the Galaxy Orchestra at the Oakville Center this afternoon. It's a theater about 30 miles from here. And it's a Glenn Miller tribute show, and I'm playing tenor sax, clarinet, and bass clarinet. It's interesting the way that the writer's done this, because rather than the usual Miller doublings, many of the saxophone players are actually carrying multiple horns with them. Baritone player doubles on tenor and clarinet. The lead player is doubling on clarinet and alto, and then the guy who's leading the band and the primary soloist is playing clarinet, alto, and tenor in various times. And then the other side of me, the fifth saxophone player, is playing alto and tenor, as well as a bunch of the clarinet solos and things. So I'm going to show you what gear I'm taking for that, and hopefully I'll be able to show you some shots of things in situ. So starting off with my tenor, I've got a Hiscox case with my Jupiter Artist Model tenor in it, which you've seen before in videos. I'm using the Jody Jazz No. 7 hard rubber mouthpiece with that, and I've got Leger reeds on it. I can't even remember which strength they are right now. I'm probably around a 2.5 or so, maybe even 2 1/4. And it's the new signature model reeds. Next up is the clarinet. It's actually my Jupiter clarinet, the one that's got the Bisky attachment on it, because it makes a couple things handy in this. And it's in a BAM ultralight case that I got, so I don't really need to carry much extra with it, just a clarinet and maybe some spare reeds and things like that. This one's actually got a little different mouthpiece than I usually use on my other clarinet setup. This one is actually, yeah, that's the Ron Caravan clarinet mouthpiece. It only comes in one facing, and it's got a Leger Euro signature No. 3 on it, Rovner ligature and cap. I'm just using the stock barrel with the clarinet. It's fairly short and tunes a little bit high, but because I only have to play it a couple times in the show, and want to make sure the pitch is up, the short barrel is the good choice for this one. And if you remember from previous episodes, there's that Steve Fox Biss touch key there on the upper joint. And of course, as I mentioned, I've got bass clarinet on this as well. So that's my Kessler low C bass clarinet, which is now into its ninth year of service. I actually mentioned that to Dave Kessler, and he said he had to check back and see, but I did get one of the very first ones that they put out, and they've already moved on to an upgraded Model 2, and they're bringing out a new case to go with it as well. It's like a lightweight backpack style case. So I'm probably going to have a look at moving that into that case, just to make lugging things a little easier. So that's got the Walter Grabner Laurie Bloom model mouthpiece with 2 3/4 Leger signature reeds on it. Usually carry some backups. Yeah, I've got my backup JD Height mouthpiece and some extra reeds and swab and things like that. Be nice to actually have a case with a bit more storage inside it too. So hopefully the new model case has got that. I don't know if I pointed out this before. This on the end pin is actually a Wolf Super End Pin bumper. It's made for cello and bass players so that they can stabilize their instruments more readily on like a wood floor, and it works quite well on bass clarinet for the same purpose. And of course, I've got the all-important accessories. There's a Hercules tenor stand with a matching clarinet peg for the tenor and the clarinet. Bass clarinet stand is just one of the old K&M stands. They're usable for bass clarinet or bassoon, two-piece stand. Also, in my accessory bag, I've got my reading glasses, or actually computer designated glasses, but for a lot of music stand positions they work better than my standard glasses. And also the all-important, just in case you need them, musicians' earplugs, just in case you've got a really loud band that particular day. This band doesn't seem to present that problem, because it's playing a little more moderate music than some of the things I get to do. All that gets chucked into a little accessory bag, so when I carry out, I've got the tenor on my shoulder and the clarinet tucked in the bag, actually, with the other stuff, the accessories, and the bass clarinet in the other hand. And of course, the other crucial piece of equipment today, the tux. Actual tux shirt with studs, cufflinks, the whole 9 yards. I don't even know. Oh yeah, it's the Oscar de la Renta tux this time, so I'm actually be well dressed today. The band leader actually has matching red bow ties and cummerbunds for the whole band, so we'll be outfitted in those once we get down there. Alright, here's all the stuff in place. We got my tenor and clarinet,
glasses, water, bass clarinet, section mates, and mid-sized kind of theater, about maybe 600 seat, maybe 800 seat in here, not sure. We're set up with the bones and rhythm section over there, and trumpets just behind us, which is a little bit different. There's one really scary bit in this book, and it's a written out solo. I'm going to show it to you. It doesn't look too bad on paper, but it's at over 300 beats per minute. There it is, the original Tex Beneke solo from Bugle Call Rag. It goes all over the horn, and it's insanely fast. Of course, got to have the red bow tie. There's a matching cummerbund that goes with the outfit, because you've got to have a band that matches on stage. Of course, there's our whole mess of horns, our fearless leader on alto and tenor and clarinet, and next to him on baritone and clarinet and tenor, and then alto and tenor, me with clarinet and tenor, and the low C bass clarinet, and alto and clarinet and tenor. And unfortunately, his alto stand broke. But you can just make it and get by on however you can on something like this. Now, interestingly, in this particular thing, I actually have to use the low C bass because the arrangement that we have of White Cliffs of Dover goes down to the low D flat on the bass clarinet.
All right, back home again after a fun and successful gig. It was a nice crowd there, and everybody played well. Good band. It's a little different than doing theater doubling, but you don't have as many instrument changes to deal with, but you have other issues to deal with, like say reproducing written out solos from original things. Most of the time when you have a crowd that goes to a Glenn Miller gig, they want to hear things done the way it was done on the records. So being able to sort of portray that with some sort of life to it is I think a skill to itself. So it's another part of your doubling arsenal, being able to sort of recreate things. And when you think about it, music theater doubling is kind of like being an actor in some ways. You're portraying a role, and playing in something like a tribute band, like a Glenn Miller band, is like that as well. It's playing a role, playing the part. So it's not about personal creativity, it's about recreative playing. So you want to be able to recreate faithfully, and if not 100% faithfully, you want to be in the spirit of the music that was played then. Now, it's interesting to note, we think of that as being kind of music that old people like. And when I say old people, I mean, people that my parents' generation, in their like late 70s, early 80s and things like that. Even those people were fairly young when Miller was popular, but they remember hearing that music from their parents, and they have a particular affection for it. It's very instructive, though, to realize that the people in Miller's band and organization weren't as old as we think of the fans of that music being. So, you had guys in their 20s and 30s that were playing in the band. Miller himself, I believe, was only 40 or in his early 40s when he died. So not what we think of as the age that fancies that music. Remember, it was the popular music of its day. Now, a lot of people may have issues with some of the things then, but I think it's because of the overexposed number. There's a lot of good material in those books and from then, and it's worth going back to. And stylistically, there's huge influences from that era, and listening to that and being familiar with the originals, not badly played on a gig stock dance charts, is a really good idea, so that you can incorporate the style of that era into your own playing, because it does come up in shows. As a theater musician, you may be asked to play things like in a Miller lead style, or a sectional style that's like a Miller band, or vibrato that's like the Miller band. So listen to the music, go back, incorporate those things into your own playing, and we'll see you next time on the Woodwind Doubling channel. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and enjoy your day. Thanks. Bye.